Welcome to our Fine Arts Missouri Educators session, our FAME Network session for October 3rd, 2023. Hello, I'm Phyllis Paisley, the Executive Director of the Missouri Alliance for Arts Education. We are pleased to welcome Emily Walley with the Springfield Ballet. Welcome, Emily.
Thank you.
So what can you tell us about the Springfield Ballet that might be of interest to Missouri arts educators?
Well, Springfield Ballet is Springfield, Missouri's pre-professional ballet school. And so today in this presentation, I'll be talking about our education and outreach initiatives. So, like I said, my name is Emily Walley, and I'm the Education Programs Coordinator at Springfield Ballet. I hold a bachelor's and master's degree in elementary ed, as well as a certificate in gifted and talented education. I grew up dancing at Springfield Ballet and have been an instructor here for 5 years. This is my second year working full-time. In today's presentation, I'm going to share who Springfield Ballet is, what we do, and our commitment to community through education and outreach programs. My goal is to spark some ideas and conversation about how we can further reach the arts into underserved communities around us. Springfield Ballet, like I said, is Springfield's pre-professional ballet school. And basically what that means is that we accept dancers from 2 years old to adults and give them the level of training sufficient for pursuing a future in ballet. My husband Daniel is pictured here on the screen as the Scarecrow in Springfield Ballet's most recent production of The Wizard of Oz. He is down dancing with a professional ballet company in Fort Worth, Texas called Ballet Frontier. Also pictured on the screen is our ballet studios up at the top left. We are located at the Creamery Arts Center, which is also home to the Springfield Regional Arts Council and other local arts organizations. We put on 2 main stage productions each year at the historic Landers Theater, including our annual Nutcracker and a spring performance that varies. This year we're doing Alice in Wonderland. Our main community outreach program is Dance Chance, a partnership between Springfield Ballet and Springfield Public Schools. Dance Chance provides Title I elementary schools with free dance instruction through 1-hour after-school sessions once a week for 6 to 9 weeks taught by Springfield Ballet instructors. Children get to put on a mini performance for their teachers, friends, and family on their final day of the session. Dance Chance is made possible through grant funding from the Missouri Arts Council, which we are so grateful for. Ballet is something that is often seen as something only for the elite, but Dance Chance brings premier ballet instruction to children from the neighborhoods facing some of the highest poverty levels in Springfield. Dance Chance assemblies are put on by myself and Springfield Ballet's Tour Corps dancers. Tour Corps is a group of homeschooled students chosen to represent Springfield Ballet during daytime outreach initiatives. We introduce students to what ballet is and show them some of the moves that they will get to try if they sign up for Dance Chance. Last school year, we made it a priority to improve our assemblies and make sure to hit every Dance Chance school. It is also really important to me to show both female and male ballet dancers so that boys know that Dance Chance is for them too. After those small changes, our number of Dance Chance participants rose from 152 to 378 in the last school year.
That's an amazing growth.
Thank you. Yeah, we're super excited about that.
Are there is there a fee for the Dance Chance assemblies?
No, so those are completely free, and we just invite all the students that are of age to participate in Dance Chance to come watch that assembly.
Got it. Thank you.
And then Star Steps is a program that I'm really excited to introduce. Star Steps is an 8-week ballet session for 10 selected Dance Chance participants. And these are students who exhibited exemplary behavior, near perfect attendance, and most importantly, are really enthusiastic about wanting to be a ballet dancer. Star Step students go through a nomination and application process and are then provided with ballet dress code for their in-studio classes. Gabby, pictured here in the bottom left, was nominated from Dance Chance last spring and went through the Star Steps program over the summer. This fall, we are very excited to have 2 boy dancers and 8 girl dancers in Star Steps.
And this is just 1 year old so far?
Yeah, so this is our first year kind of remaking the program and calling it Star Steps. We've done it for a couple of years in the past, and it was called Growing Up in the Arts. And that was funded by another arts organization that we worked with. So now it's kind of transitioned into this newer program. And then now I want to introduce you to Natalia, Layla, and Malia. They all went through Dance Chance and into the Star Steps program. So from there, they auditioned for Springfield Ballet's Community Scholarship, which is dedicated to serving students who are Black, Indigenous, people of color who are interested in studying ballet. This scholarship paves the way for these dancers to take Springfield Ballet classes and perform in our productions. And this is really why we chose to name our program Star Steps, is because children who are driven towards the art of ballet can keep stepping higher into bigger opportunities.
Great news. Thank you, Emily.
Mm-hmm. And then also 2nd grade performances. So every 2nd grader in Springfield Public Schools gets to take a field trip to the historic Landers Theater, and they get to see an abridged version of our Nutcracker or Spring Show. This program is designed to expose all children to the art of ballet at an early age, and it's part of the Kennedy Center's Any Given Child initiative. For many of these children, this is their first experience being in a theater and viewing classical ballet. So I'm going to have you please enjoy this short video about our 2nd grade performances.
Can you hear the audio?
Springfield Ballet has long been associated with Springfield Any Given Child and provides an opportunity for our 2nd grade students to see the Nutcracker on stage. A dance performance like that is something that many children would not have the opportunity to see. The excitement of the performance, as well as it being a story they know, is something that will stick with them for a long, long time.
Typically get over 2,000 students who come in and enjoy the performance. And for most of them, it's their first live experience at a theater. And most of them also, it's their first ballet. Dance Chance was started in 2007. We are currently in 7 Title I schools around Springfield. They'll learn a little bit more about movement and terminology and healthy eating habits, how their bodies work, things like that. At the end of the 7 to 8 week session, they have a mini performance for their parents and guardians to come. We host all the 2nd graders in the Springfield Public Schools every year for an abridged version of the Nutcracker at the Landers Theater. And we've been doing that since 1996. We are really, really honored and blessed to be able to provide this first experience for them, something that they probably would not have experienced if it wasn't for Any Given Child and the 2nd grade performances.
Thank you.
I'm Aubrey.
All right. I will share my screen once again. So that was our second grade performances. And then something that I started last year was character visits for the second graders that are attending Title I schools prior to going on that field trip that you just saw. So through that, an interactive version of the Nutcracker or Spring production story is read aloud to students, followed by brief excerpts performed by lead characters and a time to ask the local ballet dancers questions. And then after this program started, teachers gave positive feedback on the helpfulness of front-loading the information about the show that they're going to see before the field trip so that students could understand their field trip and get more out of the experience. Lastly, I wanted to open up for a time of discussion and share some ideas. So one way that educators could bring ballet into their classroom is through a virtual field trip. Springfield Ballet's Nutcracker performances are up in public domain on YouTube so that students could take a virtual field trip to the theater and see the show for themselves. And then also in the past, I've connected the Nutcracker story to lessons on character traits and plot if you want to kind of tie the Nutcracker into English language arts. Pictured on the screen are also a few book resources that I would highly recommend for classrooms. So the first one is Boys Dance, produced by the American Ballet Theater, and it is great to be used to show that both boys and girls can do ballet. The next one is Firebird by African-American principal dancer Misty Copeland. And that one tells the story of basically learning to fly through ballet out of an unlikely background. And then the third book shown is a book that I really love all of the orchestra storybooks actually, because all of them have a button on each page that when pressed plays classical music from that part of the ballet story. And those are really great if you're teaching about like composers and what a composer does and who different composers are. So this concludes my presentation. I now want to open up for questions and discussions as well. Thank you.
And thank you, Emily. It's wonderful to see a lot about the opportunities through Springfield Ballet. Oh, hello, Diane. Welcome. So glad that you're here.
Thank you. I'm sorry I was late, so I missed the first part of the presentation, but it looks like a really fabulous program.
It really, really does. So excited to learn that. Number one, I agree wholeheartedly that the importance of allowing students to be in the presence of ballet at second grade. I always took my fifth graders because that's just sort of how it worked in my part of the state. I live in St. Louis, and there were a couple of years where I couldn't find a show to go to. So having this be a built-in part of something that every second grader is a part of, live ballet theater in Springfield, is just great news. My first question is it available to others outside the Springfield Public Schools for school matinee performances, or does that max your capacity in terms of what you can serve through that time?
So that pretty much maxed our capacity for in-person performances, just because our production week, we only have the theater for so long.
Yeah.
And something that a lot of people don't know or don't realize is that all of our performers at Springfield Ballet are school-age children. So we don't have professionals in the show except for maybe a couple of guest performers. And so all of our kids go to school too. And so our availability is pretty slim for those second grade shows, but I would highly recommend viewing the YouTube. We can always provide a link to the Nutcracker performance, or potentially possibility for a live stream. Live streaming is something that we recently started, when COVID happened. And so it's gotten pretty popular to live stream our shows as well.
So if live streaming is an option, what I would love to know is, the costs that might be incurred by school districts who say, yes, I think I want to take advantage of that. And so wonderful that you have that YouTube series of vignettes from the Nutcracker that people can experience. I know that I found little pieces when I was front loading for my students because I wanted them to know the story. And many of them know the story already of a very well-known story like Nutcracker. But when I took them to Giselle, nobody was going to know that story. So I needed to do my homework. And I love that you shared those ELA resources that help the students become better prepared for that arts experience.
Yeah.
But I would have used your Nutcracker vignettes. I found some other ones on YouTube. One of my favorites was a symphony orchestra performance, and they had some dancers that were just like standing in front of the symphony. So they didn't have a lot of freedom of movement, but the students still loved it, and it allowed them to associate dance and the music that they were hearing, and then whatever part of the story it was too. So wonderful resources. What I would like to do is collect those then, and then add them to the little archive that we'll put at the bottom of our website so that people can get to those resources really easily, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure. That'd be great.
Yes. I also am really pleased that you have made a concerted effort to involve the BIPOC community in your work. Do you want to talk about how that came about a little bit, or if you'd like?
Yeah, sure. So the community scholarship was huge. It like, we have so many children that go through dance chants and then on into Star Steps. And typically in those programs, we have a high population of the BIPOC people. And a donor was very generous and decided that she wanted to fund this community scholarship. And so we were like, oh my goodness, thank you so much. And now we've had 3 students go through that scholarship, and now they're dancers at Springfield Ballet performing in productions. And so I just think that's, a step towards making ballet more equitable for all children in our community.
Absolutely more accessible. And I heard your presentation spoke about the scholarship takes care of their gear or their clothing that they would need. And that's one of the things, not being a trained dancer myself, as I was researching and learning more about the dance world, is just how much money is spent on shoes and costumes and things like that that are otherwise invisible. I mean, you know if you need a new pair of shoes, but so it's wonderful that the students are not only getting their lessons taken care of through this scholarship, but also the ancillary costs. So wonderful.
Yeah, and dress code is so important. Like when our children are in dance chants, they're just in their regular clothes that they wear to school and they're dancing in the cafeteria. But when they get to go into the Star Steps program, putting on tights and a leotard, that really also just makes them feel like a real dancer. And so not only is it being provided free of charge, but it's also just making them feel like this is for real. They are a real ballerina now.
That's so fun.
Yeah.
Diane, did you have any questions?
Not really. You're kind of covering my questions. I was actually born in Springfield. I've been in the Landers Theater many times because my parents were from down there, and my mother spent the last 50 years of her life, and she lived to be 100, mostly down there. So I attended things in the Landers a lot. And I'm just so excited of all the work that's going on in Springfield now, with positive inclusion of the BIPOC community and everything, and that it's almost becoming if you live in Springfield, this is how it is kind of thing. I'm hoping for, which was very different from from years ago. So it's quite gratifying. And the work, I'm really impressed with the skill that the little kids could develop, in 1 year. So, and then that it can move on to professional inclusion in the company itself. This just really great news. Congratulations.
Thank
Yes.
you.
And I think one of the other things that I'll just comment about schools like yours, that when students are watching them, they see themselves. They see students that are of their age. It's not just someone who has achieved professional level status and seems almost unattainable at times, but that somebody who's their age or who looks like them or is they just make that connection and see possibilities for themselves. So I think that's just I mean, a natural outgrowth of the way that your company is structured. So thanks. It's a great service, and it happens when it's embedded in what you're doing. So
I've definitely seen the importance of dancers having somebody to look up to. So like a lot of our classes are so big for our little ones that we actually have one of our upper level students that's on scholarship assist that class. So they kind of like grow up having these role models and these older dancers that they know. And so like it's so special when they're backstage, the little ones are getting ready to go on and they see the older dancer come off stage and they're like, "Hi, Mr. Daniel," or "Hi, Miss Emily." And they think it's so big that they're performing with the people that have been their role models growing up since day one.
that's wonderful. And Abigail Lind, we are so glad that you were able to join us today. Did you have any comments that you wanted to make before we close out today?
No, not necessarily. I mean, Emily did a wonderful job of covering all of them. The only thing that I would say is if any schools or anything of that sort would like access to some of these streaming links, even if we can't do it live because they would be live for performances. So I can't imagine that people would be in school at 7:30 on a Friday evening, but we could definitely send a link post-production. That's something that I could do. The schools would just need to reach out to me independently and we could work out something from there.
All right. So and they would just email you, we can add your
Yep.
email address into the
Or you can
information.
email Emily and she can pass them on to me for sure. And then that way we can just make sure that we can try and work something out for the schools that are surrounding Springfield who may not have the opportunity to bus in or transport in any way.
That they would then be able to see a post-production version of the live stream
From that year. Yeah.
from that year. Well, that is
Yes,
such a generous offer, Abigail. Thank you so much.
for sure.
Emily, thank you for sharing such a comprehensive glimpse into life in Springfield Ballet. Thank you again. I guess we will sign off for October 3rd session of the Fine Arts Missouri Educators Network. Thank you for joining us today, and check out the Springfield Ballet. Awesome things happening down there. Thank you again. Bye-bye.